Everybody, James, thanks for being a channel member. Welcome everybody to the stream. Lieutenant Colonel Goose, Don Craig, Svenborn from Iceland, Rex, Diane, Joy from California, Arturo, Darren from way up almost in the 51st state, up north, Sergio from Florida, General Rush, good to see you, sir. Rob, Kevin, David, David, John, Dan, Cliff, David. Lots of Davids this morning. Happy birthday, David. Skaggs' birthday. And welcome, everybody. And all my regular channel subscribers like Mary, Diane, Carlos. Hey, Rungamer, good to see you. Andreas, Ted, Terry, Mark. Morning, everybody. We've survived so far. And anybody got a guess? A lot of people think I start my morning with this. Anybody have an idea of what I do first thing when I get up in the morning? What I drink before I even get in the shower? Anybody got a guess? In quantity counts? Quantity and drink. Let me know in the chat. Everybody thinks I just drink Monster, but it's what kind of water? Jack Daniels, a fifth of Jack Daniels. I wish. Yeah, I'd be a hot mess all day. So anyway, I'll let y'all guess for a second. Let people catch up. And so this baby is turned out into a hot freaking mess right here. Look at this. Holy bananas. Ugh. I mean, golly, man. This is turned into just a hot mess. And we might need one more spike to hit that right there. Lots of guesses. I like it. So what I drink every morning, I've done this for, gosh, say longer than 10 years now. Longer than 10 years I've done this. I drink at least a quart of ice water before I get in the shower. Yeah, ice water. I drink, and lately it's been 40 ounces because I got a big Stanley cup. 15 years, Kimberly says, I've been drinking like a quart of ice water. When I first get up, I go get my pellet ice, fill up my cup, and then chug a whole quart of ice water, and then get in the shower. So for those of you that are worried about me drinking Monsters, I drink one a day. Usually that's after the first ice water, then I refill and then drink some more, and then take my vitamins and stuff, and then take the Monster with me. So it's thermogenics. It kicks off your metabolism. Is why I do that. So and these have no sugar at all. They're sugar free. I don't drink any sugar at all in the mornings. Maintain my zero sugar Monsters. They're all ultra. So anyway, it's called thermogenics. If you don't know about it, I've been doing this for like 15 years. It's how I keep my girlish figure. It's good for you. So I know Sergio's always worried about me. he's always like, don't drink that garbage Monster stuff. But I don't think he ever knew that I drink a quart of water, ice water, when I first get up. So anyway, dancing through the charts. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument. If you desire that personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. There's Sergio. There you are. So anyway, I do healthy stuff. It's not all Monsters. But that's So why that's important? My bladder is only so big. Usually, I can only handle about an hour of this show before I got to go to the bathroom again after drinking that much water in the morning. So that's usually why come 10:15, I'm like kind of wiggling a little bit, and usually I have to wrap up the show. So anyway, alrighty, just letting y'all know. And this week has been a week, right? Seems like it's been a month of weeks already. Now this all came in light today. PPI, roll it back down. We got now. Remember, this usually leads 6 weeks ahead right here. So these producers feel the effects of oil prices and stuff very quickly. Usually takes about 6 weeks to flow into the CPI numbers right there. So yeah, it's important to keep yourself healthy, you know? It's not all just I shouldn't say what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something bad. It's not all just glory, you know? Trader lifestyle. Anyway, University of Consumer Sentiment coming out at 10. Inflation expectations right there. Why is the oil going down? Because massive shorting in the markets. And, you know, destruction of demand, really, when the world output looks like it's getting crushed. Right there. I mean, it all started, you know, looked like we were about to break out, and then it all kind of started falling apart on Liberation Day right there. Big down, big down, big down. But we've been down since the high right over here. So this is not like everybody thinks drill baby drill is bullish for prices, but this is a big, probably going to dip on down before we wrap this up. This is a big downside. You know, drill baby drill is bearish for oil prices and bearish for the oil industry. Increased supply is bad for oil companies. Somewhere down here is where I expect the bottom. And if you've been here this week, you know, I expect if we do this, there may be a war kickoff in the Middle East. Right there. Lots of buildup, lots of troops. So it's a risk sitting out here in the markets. Why would prices dictate that? Because the crazy thing, so that's just my educated wild guess, EWAG, on this, on what might do this. Now, the chart foretells that we're going to drop. It's been in this drop since the beginning of 22. All right, it's been in this drop. Now, war in the Middle East is just one idea to create this pop right here. Because the next move, when we finish the correction, would be a rally. And it'd likely come up to the roadmap line, bounce through, retest, come up to this 618 level, which is now at 99 instead of 105 with the new lows. And it may be even lower. And then we could rally on up, possibly to 150, maybe even to new highs. 180. That would be pretty wild right there. So, oh my goodness. That's crazy, right? Crazy, crazy, crazy. What if this kicked off a war and created higher prices? Kind of wild. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's just wild speculation right there. Could be something else. completely different that causes that kind of spike in the markets. I mean, look at that on the back of COVID. We went from negative oil all the way up to 130, and we've been bleeding it back off. Now, it's possible we drop it all the way down in here, too. It's possible. Possible. All sorts of things are possible. Bitcoin looks like we might actually get a green day into the open today. Can this carry forward? I wanted to talk about this before I talk about the S&P. Can we carry this forward? Can we do the breakout? Downtrend of lows, holding tight. Even though I thought I removed that already, but downtrend of lows, holding tight. If we break through, get through the daily roadmap line, it's a sign that we're on a path going higher, and this may lead the markets. We may break out on Bitcoin about 2 weeks before we see the market actually resolve its problems and start moving. It could be up to, could be in sync, could be correlated, but it could be 2 weeks ahead, because that's typically what we've seen is Bitcoin move 2 weeks ahead. So this has been interesting. We've held the support, haven't broken through it, haven't stepped across the line. It's been really good. Ethereum, on the other hand, did step across the line. Has me really concerned here with this price action down here in the 1500s. Really concerned that we may take a step down to revisit the low that we did in June of 22 down here. That's a low number. That would be pretty ugly. It's not that far away. Be careful out there. This is a big corrective pattern. Move down, a retrace, and a move down. Lower low. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Now, the big thing I really want to see, really, I've talked about this in the past. If Bitcoin and Ethereum can make 3 green days in a row together simultaneously, the same 3, Bitcoin's green, Ethereum's green, Bitcoin's green, Ethereum's green, Bitcoin's green, Ethereum's green in a row, we can kick off a 2 to 4 week rally. It's kind of funny, everything kind of works in 2 weeks on Bitcoin, but potential 2 to 4 week rally. So far, red, green, not getting the 3 days in a row. Bitcoin, red, green. Get the point. Like, we're not getting 3 green days in a row so far on both of them, so just hasn't led to a breakout. Now, I was kind of starting here on Bitcoin and oil. This chart, my goodness. So we either this was a truncation, or we have one more low to go. Something lower than we did Monday. And right now, just zooming in on this price action, I was talking a wrong number beforehand. Looks like this may be kind of what we got cooking here. This tool is not going to fix the letters for me. But this looks like oops, I put that in the wrong spot. An A, B, C there, and then an A, B, C, D. We've got this little triangle thing cooking. It's kind of nasty. Really don't like it. Looks like we might be busting out the bottom. So this, and maybe this was the ABC right here. A, B, C, and then this is working on the Working on a drop. Moving fibs instead of moving. So if this gets continuation lower, watch out for coming back down to the lows. Now, if that's an A, B, C, or that's an A, and then this is some sort of B, and then we get a pop up here, a C, this would be potentially a bigger A, a bigger B, A, golly, A, yeah. That's the bigger A. That's the bigger B. Bigger C. It gets really complicated really fast. That's a 3-wave up. A, B, C potentially. But was that the truncated bottom? Now, looking at the cash index. We're missing information here. Was that the truncated bottom? Or was that the ABC up? This is a difficult thing right here. So if this was the truncated bottom, if that was the 5th wave of the move down over here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, loosely 5 up, 1, 2, could look for a 3rd wave down here. So this is very treacherous, you might say. So if this bottoms out right here, and we find strong support and turn and break back through above that high, this is the key high right here. It's indication we're coming on up to the 56 to 5800 level to retest the big 618 of the entire drop that started back here in February. Now, that'll be the tell. If we turn down off of this level in a 5-wave fashion, we'll probably do a 3-wave retrace, and then we set up for a bigger crash than anything over here. If you thought this was nasty and rough, this will be worse. Now, if we rally up here and do a 1, 2, 3 correction, that's a sign that we're probably going to bust up and go look for 6,600. Very key on what happens from this level right here. Can't tell you direction with any confidence until we get a correction off that level. If we just rip through that level, 6,600. If we don't even stop there, which I highly, highly doubt we wouldn't stop there, because look at all this resistance there. See that resistance there? It's all right there. Price is very likely to do some sort of correction off that. That correction is key to whether we can go higher or we get continuation down here. Everybody clear? I've been talking about this for a couple days. So very, very key right now. And that's, you know, some people have been asking me, like, so I see a clear 3-wave up. Well, the problem with the clear 3-wave up is that maybe that's 3 up, but maybe that's the maybe that was the 5th wave truncated right there. Maybe we were a little too enthusiastic on the wave 3 down, and the wave 5 just ran out of steam and couldn't make the lower low. It's very rare to get that truncation on a 5th wave, but it's possible. All right. When it's unclear, I typically just kind of wait and see. What it looks like is we're probably going to get a dip down to this level at least. If we start stepping across that, we're probably going lower. So this is this level right here, right around 50.80 on SPX cash index. If we start getting below 50.80, we're probably going down below 4,800, or at least 48.44. That's the higher, if you just look at it, Occam's razor, the simplest explanation tends to be the correct one. I'm kind of leaning toward we might see that drop. And it should set up a 5-wave down to complete it. And 4 and 1 should not overlap. Like the bottom of this one and the top of this one should not overlap if we're going to do that. So right now it looks like we've potentially got a 1-2 in place. And some of you are like way lost on Elliott wave stuff, but this is how I predict the markets. So this is what I'm looking for. This held so far. Looking for this continuation, a retrace, and a final move down. That's what I'm looking for. It doesn't have to happen. All right, nothing has to happen in the markets. That's just kind of the way this all works. All right, so far, the reason I'm cautious about this potentially being the 5th wave up is we held right there on that 5-wave up, that retrace. We held right there. We moved up 1, and we retraced. Even though it looks kind of corrective and full of 3-wave moves in the inner workings there, this is still holding a potential that could turn into a bullish breakout and go test this up here. Bullish only in the sense of short term. So even though I don't like all the price action underneath, I have to be cautious. ES looks more bearish. Notably more 3-wave moves, lots of 3-wave moves. Like, I mean, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, golly. Nasty price action. NASDAQ looks virtually identical. Look at that. Flip the 2 charts, virtually identical. So those are the futures charts. If you're unfamiliar, you've not seen these before, we get overnight price action. They trade 23 hours a day, 6 days a week for futures, whereas the cash index closes when the market closes at 4, and we reopen at 9:30 the next day. So we don't get any overnight price action on the cash index. Russell here, unclear also. This looks like some sort of corrective junk. We did make a lower low here. This is one reason why I'm cautious about S&P and NASDAQ having truncated right here. This one made a lower low, started to move up and a retrace, and now we're doing some sort of garbly gook in here that may pop up in here, make a third move down, find support, and then break higher. Unclear at the moment is what I would say. Unfortunately, that's where we're left. Checking out our big market oscillators. One reason I'm super cautious about being extra bearish right now is this chart right here. We got down to an epically low number, held it for a couple days, and it's like the longer we hold this down, it's like a beach ball you're holding underwater that you're putting more air into. Eventually it's going to pop, and we're going to come up here. S5FI is also epically low. We don't typically hold it longer than like 2 weeks. And it's like a beach ball that's going to come popping back up to the top. S5TH even made it down to the bottom. And it's already started to come back up off the bottom. So all 3 of our market dashboard indicators are indicating that a strong reversal is potentially sitting out here at this point. All right, this is the number of stocks above the 20-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, and the 200-day. 20, we don't typically hang out below 20 very long. And for these two, when we get below 10, a reversal is imminent. We were below 10 for a couple days on the 20. We were below 10 on this one for a couple days. Got as low as 5, I think. I mean, look. Back here, we get down and then ripped it higher in just a very few short days. Right back here in 22. At the bottom of the market. When we came off the bottom, we went ripping back up, and then we came back down. So very quickly, we could rip this up and then bring it right back down. This one's a slower mover. Usually takes a couple years to go from the top, which was a year ago. Now we're at the bottom. Kind of warned that that might be the case. We've bottomed everything else. This one, next move, probably back to the top. Could go quickly. Could go up here and then fake us out and make a lower low. Nothing's clear on this chart. We didn't make a very high high. We didn't make a very low low, but we could make a lower low now. So this one bottomed out in late 22 also. So they all three bottomed out back here. Here, it wasn't quite as clear on the top out. Took us a while to roll over, but here we are. All right. Gold keeps ripping it. Taking a, I was given a high probability of correcting back down, but nope. Just a small time frame bounce. And we're ripping it. 4-hour bounce and taking off again. It's an extension. Eventually this will do a bigger retrace, but we're doing the extension. Resistance at 32.70 and then 33.60 above that. Eventually we'll come back down to the daily roadmap line, but not today, appears. Not today. They can keep extending. It'll probably do another retrace. Imminent, for one of these levels. We'll probably do another retrace before we do another extension and retrace. And then eventually we'll come down to the roadmap line, maybe over here. I don't know. We'll see when it is. Elliott wave-wise, we're in a breakout, and this is a strong move up, probably a wave 3 of some sort. I was looking for another one of these bigger corrections, but not doing it yet. NKD has definitely got some volatility going on. So we're looking at this as a global liquidity indicator. Came bleeding off yesterday, bleeding off a little bit today. That may indicate some downside pressure for the U.S. market. This looks like it wants to go down here. Dollar. Look at that, baby. Go. Got to the 90s. Made the lower low. I expect an extension. Yeah, this was my big target for years now. Expecting that extension down here in the mid 90s, possibly all the way back down to low 90s, where we were bottomed out back in just in 2021, and in 2018. Now it's kind of funny, that you look at what we did during COVID. A market drop spiked the dollar. And as we came out of that, we dropped the dollar. As we came off that, went into a correction, and we spiked, drops in the market usually spike the dollar. What's happening right now is the dollar is dropping violently as the U.S. market has been soft. That's not supposed to happen. Wait, that's not the correlation that I know of. So this is also aiding in gold prices going higher as dollars get cheaper, gold priced in dollars goes up. So it's market dynamics for you. It's funny that when you look at oil, oil priced in dollars, not going up. Gold priced in dollars is going up. And oil priced in gold is going back down to the toilet. May get down to this level right here before we can reverse it. Gold priced in oil. Right now it takes 54 barrels of oil to buy an ounce of gold. What do you read into it? I don't know. I mean, you look at it. Bitcoin divided by gold, which is Bitcoin priced in gold. Take out dollars. Bitcoin's coming down. Here's an uptrend. I should use the actual line tool instead of coming down to the bottom. If we hold right here, it's going to rally back up. 26 ounces of gold for 1 Bitcoin. Looks like we might pop up to 40 ounces of gold, maybe even higher. Look at that right there. We came up to the 1272. So if we come off of this one, it could be 44, 42, 44, maybe even a little bit higher. Right there. Interesting potential, eh? The highs we had back here in 22, 21, I guess late 21, almost into 22. We peaked out at 37. Right here, we peaked at 40. And if we go on the big run, 45, 55. Put it right in there. Kind of all corresponds. So if gold's going to hang out at $3,200 an ounce and not blink, and Bitcoin goes up to 44, there's your price on Bitcoin. 140,000. It stayed at 3,200 and it goes to 45. 144,000. Fits with my price predictions. A little on the lower end, but maybe gold goes up and Bitcoin goes up. If Bitcoin were to go up to, if gold were to go up to 3,500, and see, there's right in the target right there. So gold goes up to 35 and Bitcoin go up to 44 ounces of gold, 154,000 in dollar terms. Interesting, eh? All right, I go pull all the gainers. This list is the smallest list we've had since Liberation Day. Only about 54 tickers, which is still a big list. But I go pull all the things moving up in the pre-market, put them on the gainers list. Everything moving down in the pre-market, put it on the decliners list. I do that in the pre-market before I start the show. And then we go hunt for any potential opportunities. If you're new here, I don't typically take requests. And there's 3 things that commonly don't follow my pattern. One of those is pharmaceutical, biotech stuff. So when that tops the list, it's usually time to be cautious. As yesterday, it's a warning sign. We might see some shenanigans in the market when biotech pharma makes the top of the list as the biggest mover in the entire land. This one, We hit the 600 target. We got some nice rally. I would watch for the resistance at the roadmap line. We have not been able to break above that for a long time. Since we broke below it back here last summer, we've been grinding below it. So if you are a buyer of ASML here, definitely watch out for what happens here if and when we get that rally. You're already up 10%. That's pretty darn good in a couple days. BLK, BlackRock reporting earnings. Came out on a miss on a revenue, a beat, a pretty healthy beat. So they're making money in this carnage. They're making money in this carnage of the market. That's what one of the things I was talking about yesterday to watch out for. We also had JP Morgan reporting earnings. Came in nice and strong, beating on both. So they're making money out of this carnage. FAS not really responding as strongly. Their FAS's biggest holding, just kind of hanging in here. And this has got the setup to go from here to there. 550 on the upside target. High probability pattern. Check out the statistics. 73% of the time. So 73% likely. Has a statistical significant history. So profit factor is only 1.3 though. A little light. Means the losses eat up a lot of the wins. But that one has a roughly a $30 upside potential right now. Worked out last time. Right back here in January. Not bad. Not a bad potential. Lily on the bottom. Part of a big three-wave retrace. Might dip down to 600. MSTR. Golly, talk about volatility. Look at those moves. Look at those moves. This has a kind of a sub accelerated downtrend of highs on that little price action just right here. If we could actually get a nice breakout above 300, it may indicate that Bitcoin's about to go on a rip and follow suit. This acts like leveraged Bitcoin. And people have been piling into this, trying to take advantage of Bitcoin breaking on out. Danger is a dumpster fire right here. Leverage charts. You know, I talked about biotech. Leverage charts. That's number 2. Dangerous. China stuff. Number 3. Dangerous. I mean, there's some other stuff that doesn't really follow patterns much, like real estate investment trusts, IPOs. I mean, IPOs follow the pattern. They just typically start out bearish. These things, dumpster fires, they don't necessarily follow the patterns. And this is likely to come ripping right back down whenever they burn it down. TSM made it down to the downside target. This could be a bottoming sign. If we can break back above this resistance, right? You know, it was support, now it's resistance. We break back above that, get through the roadmap line. There's the 618 right above that. Yeah, it's a lot of layers of resistance. Can kick off the run to $240 up there on TSM. GDXU, man, didn't expect that to dip all the way to the roadmap line and then shoot to the target. Holy moly. Super violent prices are not the typical. That got right to the target. Be careful if you're long anything in this 3x leverage GDXU thing. Be careful. This might be signaling a retrace before we can do another move. GE Veranova. There's and JMVR. Yeah, GME is doing MSTR. I mean, there's like 100 companies doing it. Just be careful. Nobody's quite doing it the right way. Nobody's found the staying power that MSTR has had. GE Veranova, it's in a downtrend, so we can break above that to signal we're going up to 475. Be careful. This can continue the downtrend. Spotify. Beautiful potential bounce. If we get above the 585 area, looks like 678 potential. And doesn't have a long history, but 80% win rates and a profit factor of 6. So if we break above that, we get above this resistance area with a daily close. 678 is your upside. LHX bouncing off of resistance right there. Be careful. That can bounce down. GLD. Man. Clear air. Watch out. That can, when things go vertical, they can run out of juice. And retrace. SLV. That might have been it. So we're into the daily roadmap line on silver. This is silver futures. Kind of want to see a 618 retrace, and then that's where I might load up if we do that. Otherwise, I'm looking for that breakout through the 618 level. It's not drawn on here. This potential high, this potential low. That's the highest high, that's the lowest low. We're looking for 32.50. Get above that. And this could be the biggest opportunity of the year right here, because this one's not broken out. If you're new here, you haven't heard me talking about this, this might be the biggest opportunity this year, next year, I don't know. Could be a little, big opportunity here. Gold is up here. Gold is already broken out. It's up here, all-time highs. Silver is messing around down here. And we have this giant opportunity to catch up. When we look at the gold-silver ratio, we've had it all the way up to here. But historically, gold and silver hang out somewhere around here. And we're at 100 here. So we can see a 30. This is, how many ounces of silver does it take to buy an ounce of gold? So we see a 30-ounce drop. That's like a 30x increase in silver. Giant potential. So gold's running away without silver. These spikes don't usually last long, and then they reverse hard. You can see that one dropped from like 125 back down to 65. Probably going to see the same thing this time. Like, does it happen from here or does it happen from here? I don't know. I don't know how far ahead gold will get before silver comes ripping up and push that down. HII. For the most part, I don't care about any news at all whatsoever. There's only a few news items that matter. One, we lost all our money. And that includes, like, the CEO got arrested with a trunk full of girls and all the money from the company in the back seat. You know, we lost all our money. Oh, we went bankrupt. Oh, we're going out of business. I mean, that's the kind of news that, that news matters for a stock. And a lot of times it may or may not be in the stock chart. And usually not. That matters. And that's one of the only pieces of news that matters. We lost all our money. I mean, other, going public, that usually indicates a bearish chart, but we don't see the chart before that. So that news matters. A buyout matters. Usually you can predict where the buyout price is going to be. Like if this was going to get bought out, and it's going to be, right up in here. It'll pop right up in there. And then as the buyout deal happens, it'll drift up to the close price over some period of months. And those are kind of it. Now, dividends matter because they pay out from the share price. They cause a sudden, fast drop, and then usually the stock recovers. And it's very evident on something that pays a very high dividend. These drops right here are because of the dividend. That right there was that dividend. This drop right here was that dividend. I pulled up this one. It's very obvious. This one's very obvious too. JAAA. That's the dividend. Right there. That's the dividend. Right there. That's the dividend. Right there. So when you adjust them for dividends, that's what you get. And this one, highly, highly likely to come ripping right back up here. It's a volatility event like we've seen right here, like we saw right here, and like we saw back here. Could be a prolonged event. Could last a little while, but it'll come back. Yeah, right there, just took a little while, and then right back up. On the unadjusted chart, it looks freaking nasty. You just got to hold through the dividends. SLP. Simulations plus. Otherwise, company news matters jack squat. This was a big bubble pattern, and we're coming back down. Almost there. Bubble patterns, if you're new here, haven't seen it before. We see this over and over in the market where we get all this hype and optimism and euphoria. I'm going to be a genius. We're going to be rich. Anybody remember NVIDIA, SMCI? All the talk about how everybody's got to buy more. Oh, the consolidation in NVIDIA. Oh, it just needs to cool off a little bit before we break out. Tons of companies buying more GPUs. And then now we're starting on this part. Watch out for a bigger flush on something that gets hyped up like NVIDIA. So watch out. All right. And you see it right there on that chart. Zoom out enough. We see it right here on NVIDIA. Already did the consolidation. We're breaking down. This could result in a bigger flush. Here's a support level, and then here's a support level. Maybe like it's not possible. We're going to do that. Let me remind you of this one. That has already come down and has the potential to erode even further down here. And then there's this one that has done many of these pops on its grind back down. So be careful chasing those ugly Ultra gold. Wow, what a pop. AGQ is the leverage on silver. This one just made its lowest low off of that corrective high right there. We hit that high. Correction, made the low. I am long this with some shares, waiting for the potential breakouts on the silver chart, which could take us up to crazy numbers up here. JNUG, I'll add some more stuff later when we actually prove the breakout. This one we talked about potential to get up to the targets, and we got there. Watch out for the retrace. It's time to be protecting profits on gold, not adding more exposure. You missed it. You missed it. If you weren't long gold, you missed it. NEM, wow, nice recovery. I got out. I couldn't take that anymore. If you stick with it, great job. I consider booking profits. This is a much lower high. It can reverse at any point. AEM, blasting on out. Watch out. Bigger resistance up here, 120 to 130. 120, 125, 130. Yeah, be careful. FNGA, trying to work on the bottom. This was a lower low than anything we've had for a couple of years. Yeah. Been almost a year and a half since we've been down here. This is a leverage 3x ETN, so be careful on leverage. We could take this back higher, but what was the damage done with this flush out? Z-Lab. Dang, we got the target. Look at that. So we did 5 up, and we did the retrace. This could be, holy sugar money. Holy sugar money. All right. This is one of those big upside opportunities here. The next move. Yeah, this is non-log scale. Next move, 66 for Z-Lab. Potential. Gotta break out over that. Gotta break out over that high to get up here. Gotta break through 50. Gotta break through 57. 66 will be the next point where I expect to retrace back down to 50. And then we get the final move. That's one I might put some money on. I might buy 100 shares in this $20, $28 area. That's a double. It's not like a 10xer, but it's a double. Pretty good. UVIX, watch for this to bleed back off. SVIX, still not coming off the lows yet. We did hit the target. Look at that. Beautiful. It's indicative that we're near the end here of this volatility event. SVIX looking like it might be bottomed out. Oop, XY. Might have a pop left in it. This one still might have a pop left in it. I might load back up on 40. I might load back up on these. Probably not going to do next week. Still looks likely to do one more pop. I actually liquidated them like $1 a piece when we came back through. I bought initially $1.50, added 4 times, quadrupled my position size when it was down to like 25 cents. Took them off at $1 as we came back through. And might add them back on for another potential pop. You got to be a trader. I can't, don't follow me. You got to make your own decisions. Skags did an awesome job nailing that one, picking it up at the dirt cheap price the other morning and rocking and rolling as we spiked 2 days ago. Anyway, was that yesterday? I don't even remember. I guess it was yesterday. Yesterday as we spiked. It's been, like I said, it's like a week of This week has been like a week of weeks. It's like a week in the market happens in a day. NVO coming down to the target zone. Look for it to find reverse support around this 55 area. So we turn it and burn it higher. WPM. Wow. Wheat and precious metals. Another gold miner. Rocking and rolling. We get stark contrast to other industrial metals. Grinding on down. We need like a lower low here on FCX. Yeah. This one might be working on a breakout. That might actually break out. CCP, Coca-Cola Euro Pacific Partners. And KO is doing really good. Looks like we're set to spike this up to the 85 area. Pepsi, on the other hand, it's a tale of different charts right there. Potentially working on a measured bounce. If we can hold this zone in here, break back above the roadmap line right in here. Get that going. It's funny, Pepsi focused on getting people to drink other things besides Pepsi, and now the demand for soda in their brand, the demand for Pepsi branded soda is in the toilet. Now they've got a crisis on their hand trying to figure out how to get people to drink Pepsi again for their namesake. Monster looking like Coca-Cola. Potential to break out to new highs, 63, 65. Celsius has that. I bought 100 shares back here, held through the dip, still holding because there's the bigger potential for this to go busting out up here. Now this one does have the 10x potential on there, 5 to 10x. Beautiful. CRO. Wow. Getting whacked right there. No bottom in sight. AU. Another gold. Another one. That long-term correction coming up into targets 45, maybe 54 on the upside. Would be next upsides for Anglo Gold Ashanti. Coinbase. Ooh, it did. Okay, so when I talk about when I was talking about the S&P at the beginning, needing a lower low, just a little nub right there counts as the lower low. And this sets up the potential to reverse off of that. So we want to see it break above the roadmap line, break it back above this set of highs right here that was resistance, and then break on out as Bitcoin potentially turns and burns. So this could be a reasonable spot to pick some up. Honel is the 2x leverage for that. Remember, leverage, this is a much worse looking chart, and it's gotten beat down a lot worse. Now it could come back just like the GDXU chart. This could come ripping back all the way up here and provide opportunity from 13 to like 100. That would be absolute insane. I'm not saying it's going to work. Korea 3x bullish seems to be on the toilet, and I'd be very careful chasing that one. NVS, Novartis has the potential to come on down here. It's going to back test. Yeah. We didn't hold that one, that uptrend of lows. Didn't hold it, but then we came back down through. If we hold it this time, we're probably going to do that. SDGR. Schrodinger. Does this chart exist if you're not looking at it? If you have no idea what I mean, just Google Schrodinger's cat. And looks like the bubble pattern playing out. NTES broke back below the downtrend of highs. I wouldn't mess with it right now. Nothing clear. It looks like we may come down to 70. ARKB, Bitcoin's ARK's Bitcoin ETF needs the breakout of downtrend of highs. IBKR consolidating under the roadmap line is not bullish. If we can get back above the 210 area, we can look for that move up right there. PTIR. This is leverage on PLTR. PLTR finally hit the roadmap line. As I warned, I am long calls. Looking for this to break back above the 618 zone, which is actually pulled down just a hair. Looking for this to break above, confirm above 103. I actually bought my calls here. Sat through this dip. Looking for this to break on higher. 134 on the upside. You could go with PTIR, no leverage. I don't know if it'll come back to the highs. That's a little crazy, but yeah. You'd have to make your choice. Yen, that looks like it got absolutely destroyed on this trade war thing. If the trade war resolves, this could go shooting off up into the 60s. FBTC, Fidelity's Bitcoin ETF, downtrend highs. Look for the breakouts of that downtrend highs, just like on Bitcoin's chart. Baidu. You know, some of these are proxies. Like this is a proxy for Bitcoin. Baidu is sitting at all-time lows, or yeah, right in the vicinity of all-time lows. We wrecked that pattern, so got to build something bullish again. Nothing over here matters. We gotta wait for a reversal to show up. FUTU got slammed back down. Now we're looking to build this bullish bounce over again. GDXJ blasting on out. Be careful. That was a roadmap bounce right up to the targets. May get a retrace on gold miners. Bulls. Yeah, that no reversal in sight right now. BitX. Until Bitcoin can break through the downtrend highs, this is still going to grind lower. Leverage costs money to maintain, especially on Bitcoin. Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. Downtrend highs. Got to break through it. AMD. As I kept warning, like I'm not sure that was the bottom yet. Not sure that's the bottom yet. I'm still not sure this is the bottom yet on AMD. We got to break through the downtrend on the roadmap line. Got to do a move up and a retrace. Preferably one that held a 618, and then I would be interested in picking this up. I don't like to just try to knife catch and catch the bottom unless it's at a 618. And now at this point, we've dipped through it. Even on the log scale, we came down to the 786, which is a warning. I drew this line on here. Said if we get below this 72 area, highly likely we wreck this pattern and go down lower than that low from back there in 22. Right there. So got to be careful on these right now. Inium, yeah, crazy move. MSPR. Dumpster fire. It's just a dumpster fire. Don't mess with this. Just don't mess with these. Oh, this one. I bought $10 calls. Bought some $10 calls. Looking for this to pop back up to at least the roadmap line. Started throw there out there. That's it. This is 3x leverage on semiconductors. Be freaking careful. That's playing with nitroglycerin right there. You can burn your account. I put a very small, bought like two $10 calls. Upside potential. Pretty nice if we bounce. It's like gambling a little bit. TXN. Pushing on lower. Where's the low? We're back to all-time low. Well, at least low since COVID. What a nasty correction. I don't know, everybody. Looks like we might be hunting for that support at 132, which is a retest of the breakout. We broke out after COVID. Coming back to retest that. If we can hold it, great. If we don't hold it, going deeper. Texas Instruments. So much for, the U.S. can do all the things. We can make everything. It's not what that chart says. ETHD. That's short Ethereum. Did not make a higher high. Let's hope for David A's sake that this actually turns and drops back down. CRWD. CrowdStrike just grinding on the roadmap line. If we can break above that 618 level around 400, we can get a rally up to 492. Yang. China Bear. You'd think this would be ripping with China getting destroyed, right? But it just came up under the roadmap line. Potential to go back down again. BAH. Booz Allen. Hamilton. Is not a very bullish looking chart. It's doing a big correction. Looks like we may find support around the 80 area. ADI. Man, that got destroyed. A lot of chip stuff got destroyed. We could come on down to 135. Oil. Natural gas. It's back to the roadmap line for any doubters out there. Seasonality wise, we might bust on down, get the extension down to 275. Dust getting wrecked. 2x bear on gold miners. Just a matter of time before we get another reverse split. And 5 below is definitely heading down to the target. 5 more below here. We'll put it at 50. Be the ideal target to find support and bounce. All right. Bias for the day. My bladder explodes. And bankruptcy. Yeah, we're still doing that. Still doing that stuff. Yep, still working on this triangle. I'm slightly biased for going lower. All the things I talked about earlier. Watch for the 618 zone, though, as the tell. Watch for that 50, 80 area. If we get below it, may go lower low. If we bounce off of it, maybe the end of this current correction. Now, caution. There's rumors that Trump gives up on the China tariffs over the weekend. We could be up here on Monday. So be careful going into the weekend. Very bearish. On the other hand, if it doesn't work out, we could be down here on Monday. So that's Trump for you. Be careful out there. The account you save may be your own. I'll be very, very, very cautious right now. Trading, there's no clear crash. There's no clear anything right now. So be very careful with your money. Be very careful with your positions. Maybe risk less because the moves can be so big. When you're wrong, don't lose half your account. Maybe lose 1% of your account or less than 1% of your account. Smaller size positions. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you again Monday.